Welcome to part 3 of this My Crappy Backhand series of videos. If you haven't seen number 1 or number 2, very long story short, my backhand has always been terrible, my backhand drive. I've always covered it up with a slice, and I've made the decision I'm going to overcome these bad habits. And so this series has been taking you on that journey with me. And it's been about a month since part 2, and since then I've been doing some practice. As I'm working here on the courts, my desk is over there. Occasionally, like once or twice a week, I would say, I just walk onto the courts, I do some shadow swings, I drop some balls, and then also very recently, like a week ago, as I set up the ball machine for like a live training broadcast, or I'm demonstrating something, I'll warm up my forehand and backhand, and I've been practicing actually hitting from ball machine, baseline to baseline. But long story short, I've been really happy with the progress, and today I wanted to pick up at that spot, give you an update, and then continue pushing forwards. And before I start hitting, I haven't hit a single ball yet today, so this is totally cold for me going into today's training. And I'm happy with the progress. I think the big thing is that I have not been pulled back into any kind of competition, any kind of training with another player. When you're working on changing a habit, and it's a deep, decades-old habit, like my backhand drive habit is, anytime you go to play a point or you're trying to facilitate a rally with a training partner, you're gonna go back to the old habit, because that's old faithful. You know what the result is gonna be. As I work on this new technique, I have no idea where the ball is gonna go, because I'm moving my body in a totally new and different way. That's the whole point. And so over the last 4 or 6 weeks, I haven't hit a single training ball with anybody. It's just all been once or twice a week, me walking onto the court, and I think this has been huge. None of this stuff. I wanted to give you a quick report on that. I think that's the only reason, like if Megan and Kevin were still here and we were hitting, once or twice a week to demo for videos, I don't think I'd be making the progress that I am in the last couple weeks. Anyway, let's go ahead and do some practice, and I'll show you exactly where I'm at. The primary focus I've selected for myself in totally changing my backhand drive has been swing path. My old habit, which we're not going to get into a lot today, but just for any of you who haven't seen the first 2 parts, my old habit was to drop my racket just to about the level of contact and then just kind of push my racket straight forwards. I've really never in my life truly hit a topspin one-handed backhand. It's been kind of a hybrid punch, drive, kind of side spin, kind of deal. And so I've always had a very tense, tight, straight kind of push of the ball. I've never been able to come from underneath the ball and use leverage to pull the racket and lift and roll the ball forwards before. And so let's go ahead and get into the training here. So the main things I've been looking for from a side angle have been, I'd love to see the butt cap pointing towards the target, towards the camera in my drop, my slot position, and then an extended arm at contact and as neutral of a wrist as possible. Previously, right before contact, I was clenching down, my hand was curving upwards, was extending upwards. That would open the racket face, and it would just kind of turn into this kind of forward like shovel. So what I've been working on is keeping my hand and my wrist really relaxed, loose, and as neutral as possible, so that at contact, my racket face can be square, and then finish from there. So I'll go ahead and move through some segmented shadow swings first, kind of visually checking those positions. And then I'll move through some smooth, continuous shadow swings. And then in the previous video, what I was doing some fake tosses where I would toss, shadow, and just try to replicate that exact same technique. Now let's go ahead and check that really quick. So here's my last 2 practice repetitions. Here's a shadow swing. You'll notice I was doing this last time. I'm beginning in a pretty exaggerated position. I don't need to turn this much, but when I'm not looking, when I'm not watching, my body tends to overcompensate and go a little too far. But then when the ball is involved, I don't go that far anymore. And this is why we do the shadow swings and the fake tosses, is to trigger the old habit. Watch here with the ball involved. I don't go as far, and I kind of get to the position I actually want to be in. So I'm really happy with this. This looks great. That's the slot position I want. This is the contact position I want. And this has started to become pretty routine for me. And so let's go ahead and move to some hits. Before I hit some balls, I'm going to do some shadows and some fakes with the ball machine on the other side. Huge, massive shout out to Playmate, who sent me that ball machine, who sent me this ball mower. We'll get some B-roll, James, to kind of show. They sent these two pieces of equipment to me a couple weeks ago. This is not sponsored by Playmate, but they sent me these machines, and it's been unbelievable for students and also for my own work. I'll tell you more about them later, but just wanted to give them a shout out in this video. And so what I'm going to do is go through my shadow swings and then have the machine underhand toss me a ball. And my goal is just to line up my swing with that underhand toss. Let's do one more fake toss. And now I'm going to do a shadow. I'm going to do one more fake. And now in this next feed, I'm going to go ahead and make contact. Oh, almost right back in the machine. I'm really curious. I don't think I hit record. Let's do some more. Okay, let's take a look at those last couple. Feeling pretty good about the quality of my repetition here, quality of my training. And I'm expecting to see more of the same. Here's my shadow swing. Not as exaggerated, but definitely still exaggerated. I'm bringing the racket around myself quite a ways. Here's the fake. I'm just getting kind of close to where I'd like to be on the slot position. Just a little bit short of kind of like perfect or ideal, but in the ballpark. And then here's my last hit. A little bit weaker than the fake. Nice. Really, I'm really happy with this contact position, how I'm starting to relax and just kind of let the racket move a little bit more freely. Again, a little bit weaker slot position right here than I'd like to see. I'd like to see the edge of the racket more falling, and I'd like to see the butt cap of the racket more towards the camera instead of kind of more towards the net post. And so those are kind of my goals moving forwards. But I'm happy with the progress. Compared to where I started, this is so important. The mindset of this is so critical. I'm not going for perfection. I'm going for sequential improvements. I'm going for steps in the right direction. If I try to be perfectionist about this, I'll just end up being super frustrated and super angry at myself because I can't just snap my fingers. I'm working actively, like pulling and pushing against habit. And so every little step I take in the right direction is a really big win. So what I'm going to do now is actually move a little bit further back, and I'm going to make my way back to the baseline eventually and hit some practice shots from there because I have not recorded myself from that position. I've hit some shots that have felt pretty good, and I want to see what my execution is like from there right now. If you've appreciated this crappy backhand series, do me a favor, click like before we dive right back into the training. And also give Playmate a like. They totally hooked me up on this ball machine and the mower. And this app is incredible. I don't even have to go to the other side of the court. I can adjust the feed rate, the height, the speed, just by tapping on the iPad screen and then going back over to Coach's Eye, the app that I use for the analysis. It's incredible. Totally wasn't planning on even talking about it today, but I'm just so excited about it, and I want to make sure Playmate knows that I appreciate their support so much. So give them a like if you appreciate them supporting me. And let's go ahead and hit some balls from no man's land now that we're all set up. So I've moved myself back. I've increased the speed a little bit of the feed and also the frequency. I'm going to stop doing shadow swings, and I'm going to start just alternating between a fake and then a hit. And I'm just going to try to get some more quality repetition here, and we'll check in a couple seconds. edge, relaxed hand. Edge, relaxed hand. All right, we can take a look at that really quick. Oh, wow, this is really fantastic. This position right here is exactly what I'm looking for. This is my last shadow swing. And man, this pull up to imaginary contact, if I can replicate this at any point in my entire life and hit the ball, I will be just unbelievably happy. Like, I'll probably cry when I actually see that happen. This position is exactly what I'm looking for. This position is exactly what I'm looking for. And so I'm really happy with just this training right now. The quality of these repetitions, this is what I need to overwrite and replace my old crappy habit. So I'm totally not expecting that on the actual hit, but just so you all know, like that's really what I'm looking for ultimately. Okay, I'm happy with this. So we're close. The edge position here is really nice. The butt cap has not quite made it around to the camera, but this is like a B plus. I'm pretty sure this is a hit. Hopefully this is a hit. This is like a big thumbs up for me for sure. Coming up to contact. Okay, so that for me is like a B minus. You can see after contact, there's a little bit of the residual kind of extension of the wrist here, a little bit of that kind of shoveling habit, but it's not bad at all. Like this, overall, give this a B on execution, and relative to how crappy my habit was before this, I'm really happy with that. So I'd be very comfortable continuing to do this repetition again and again and again and again without allowing myself going back to the old one at all, just focusing on this. This will move me in the right direction. This will allow me to take steps towards actually doing this in real life. And ultimately, that's my goal, is to be able to hopefully use something close to this in my tournament coming up in October. No idea the quality of my habit by then, but this makes me hopeful that something in that ballpark might be possible. Back to the baseline now, a little more challenge, a little more real life. Once again, we're taking progressive steps here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and go right back into fake toss and then an actual hit. Same focus points, really cueing in on the edge and the relaxed hand. Edge of the racket in, ooh. Nice. I mean, I'm seeing the ball, curve, it's rolling forwards. That's such an exciting thing for me. Even if I'm not doing it perfectly, and even if they're not, even going in the court, I know I'm on the right track at least, and my swing path is starting to get rewritten. Oh man. Never in my life, until the last 6 weeks, never in my life have I hit curve like that on a backhand. And that alone it's so reinforcing and encouraging for me. It tells me that, it's not perfect yet. I still have a lot of work to do, but at least I know I'm on the right, basic track. And I'm pretty sure this is my final hit here. Okay, I'll take this. This is real close to ideal. Again, I give myself a B plus on this. Racket is right on edge. Butt cap a little short of the camera, but B plus, really, really solid. It's contact. I've waited a little too long. This is part of the challenge. Like there's no tennis technique that lives in a vacuum. When I'm trying to change how I'm extending my arm, that means I have to time my swing earlier. This is why I read all of your comments. I'm very aware that I'm not transferring my weight very much. I'm very aware that I'm not uncoiling with the hips very much. And those are important things. I'm going to add those into the equation eventually. I will. But I have to first address this hitch in the system. If I step forwards fantastically and I uncoil and I lead with the hips really well, but I don't change this clenched down, tight, tense, forward, pushy, slappy, side spin kind of swing path, then all of that stuff is just going to be a waste of energy. So that is why I very consciously and deliberately just picked swing paths first, because I know if I build a strong foundation but my swing path is garbage, I will not get the ball that I want. And there's so many different nuances in retraining this. I'm really very unconcerned with my lower half of my body right now. Eventually I'm going to address it. Okay, so I gave myself like a B- on the contact point. Little more of the flexing, a little bit more tension, but you can see the overall path is there. My overall path before was like in this, and I mean very flat. And you look at the overall path now, and it's very circular. And now we have actual vertical motion up through contact, and that's why we're seeing shape, we're seeing curve, we're seeing forward rotation, and I can't tell you how happy that makes me. So that's it for the update for today. This is where I am right now, starting to hit shots from the baseline, some B pluses, some B minuses, kind of going back and forth in terms of execution. If you've enjoyed this breakdown, you enjoy seeing the progress I'm making, click the thumbs up button. It really does help the video. I appreciate it very much. And let me know your thoughts down below. Am I way off base here? Am I focusing on the wrong thing? Is it helpful? Let me know what you think down below. Thanks. Catch you in the next video. At the screen or at you? I feel like I should be trying to look at myself. Is that it or no?